I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? That's what I said to the bank, but they just asked for the transaction number and put me on hold. I'm staring at my statement right now, and there's a highlighted error that makes me realize that phrase alone wasn't enough. The missing piece is that transaction was not authorized. Without it, they treat it like a simple mistake. Say it with me. That transaction was not authorized.
Exactly. The bank needs to know which transfer, and more importantly, that you didn't authorize it. So you'd follow up with, that transaction was not authorized. It's like giving them the red flag they need to act immediately.
Right? And then you need to push for action. So you'd say, could you trace it and let me know? That's the polite but direct way to ask them to investigate and update you. It turns your complaint into a clear request.
That's the natural flow, but here's the catch. If you say that transaction was not authorized too quickly, it might sound robotic. Listen to the difference. That transaction was not authorized versus that transaction wasn't authorized. The second one sounds more natural. That transaction was not authorized means a reusable English chunk for this exact situation.
I called the bank yesterday and I said, I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? The agent paused, then asked for the transaction number. I gave it, but I didn't mention that it wasn't authorized. He said he'd check, but I felt something was off.
That's exactly the trap. Without saying that transaction was not authorized, the bank might treat it as a simple mistake, not fraud. So they could take days to investigate. You need to add that phrase early to speed things up and protect yourself.
Right, so the full line should be, I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? Then add, that transaction was not authorized. Finally, could you trace it and let me know? That last one is your polite push for action. Could you trace it and let me know? It's direct but courteous.
And if they hesitate, you can add a reason. I'm worried because this was not authorized. That turns your request into a clear concern. So for example, I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? That transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know? That's the complete natural flow.
I'll never forget the moment I saw that statement. There it was, a payment to a name I didn't recognize, and my heart just sank. I immediately thought, how did this happen? But the real question was, what do I say to get it fixed without sounding angry?
The way I see it, you have to separate the emotion from the facts. You say, I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? That's your opening move. It's direct and polite. The way I see it, that phrase sets the tone for the whole call. Listen to the stress and linking in the way I see it. Say it once smoothly, the way I see it.
But what if the bank agent doesn't seem to care? That's what happened to me. He just said, we'll look into it. And I thought, that's not enough. So I added, that transaction was not authorized. That changed everything. He started typing immediately.
Exactly. Because now it's not just a mistake, it's a potential fraud case. They have to escalate it. So after that, you can ask, could you trace it and let me know? That gives you a clear next step and a timeline. It keeps you in control.
So I added, could you trace it and let me know? That gave him a clear action. He said, I'll check and call you back. Just those words changed the tone. Now, a useful chunk here is that makes sense, but it lets you acknowledge the other person before you push back. For example, you could say, that makes sense, but I still need a reference number. Try saying that after me. That makes sense, but I still need a reference number.
And that call back? I bet it came the next morning. But what if the bank says the money is gone? That's when you need to ask for a formal dispute. They have to give you a reference number. That's your proof. And if they still push back, you can say, I'd like to speak with a supervisor, please. That often speeds things up.
What changed for me was realizing the agent isn't the enemy. He's just following rules. So you say, I understand this is procedure, but can you escalate it? That made my agent say, I'll mark it urgent. Now, what changed for me is a great chunk for sharing a personal insight. It signals a shift in thinking. For example, what changed for me was seeing that calm words got faster results. Try it. What changed for me and finish with your own idea.
And that urgent mark? It worked. The money came back in 2 days. So the real lesson is, stay calm, use the right phrases, and don't give up. Now, before we move to practice, think about this. Which phrase felt most natural to you? Was it not authorized? Trace it. Or what changed for me was? Keep that one in mind, you'll use it soon.
So, what detail did you catch in that story? Did you notice the exact moment I said not authorized? That phrase is key because it tells the bank you didn't approve the transfer. It changes the conversation completely. That transaction was not authorized. It's direct but polite. Try saying it now with a firm but calm tone. Go ahead.
Exactly. Now, try this. Say that makes sense, but I still need to know where the money went. Go ahead, try it yourself. This pattern agreeing first, then adding your need keeps the conversation cooperative. For example, that makes sense, but can you check again? Your turn. Before I answer, say your own line with I used to think, but now. One possible answer is, I used to think, but now.
Great. My friend once transferred money to a wrong account, and the bank said they couldn't reverse it. She panicked, but I told her to say, could you trace it and let me know? That simple question got them moving. Notice the chunk, could you trace it? It's a polite request for action. Could you trace it and let me know?
And what happened next? The bank traced it, but they said it would take a week. So she asked, can you escalate this? And suddenly, it was done in 2 days. That's the power of asking for the next step. The chunk, can you escalate this, is direct and effective. Can you escalate this?
The real challenge is staying calm when you hear, we can't reverse it. I once panicked and said, but it's my money. That didn't help. Instead, try, I understand, but could you trace it and let me know? Say it now with a steady voice. The real challenge is a great chunk to frame a difficulty. For example, the real challenge is keeping your cool when the bank says no. Now you try. Finish the sentence, the real challenge is. With your own idea.
That's a great point. When my friend used that line, the tone on the phone changed completely. The agent stopped rushing and actually said, let me check that for you. So the real challenge isn't just the words, it's the calm delivery.
Let's unpack that. The phrase, could you trace it and let me know, has 3 thought groups. Could you trace it, pause, and let me know. When you pause there, you sound organized, not pushy. Could you trace it and let me know?
A small step that helps is to smile while you speak. It sounds odd, but it really softens your tone. When I smiled and said, could you trace it and let me know? The agent became more helpful. Try it yourself. Smile and say the line. A small step that helps is a natural chunk you can reuse. For example, a small step that helps is to take a deep breath before you call. Now you try. Complete the sentence, a small step that helps is, with your own tip.
But here's the thing about, could you trace it and let me know? When you say trace it fast, it sounds like trace it. The T links to the I. And it's exactly what you need when the bank statement is sitting there with that highlighted error.
Now let's try it slowly. Repeat after me and feel the pause. Could you trace it? Pause. And let me know. Could you trace it? Pause. And let me know. Your turn. Could you trace it and let me know?
That pause makes you sound more confident. Think about it. If you rush, you sound nervous. So when you call the bank and you see that highlighted error on your statement, use that pause. Could you trace it? Pause and let me know. It changes everything. Could you trace it and let me know? Would you agree that means a natural chunk you can reuse in this situation? Could you trace it and let me know?
Now let's apply it. Imagine you're on the phone and the agent says, we can't reverse it. What do you say? Use the phrase we practiced. Say it out loud. I'll give you a moment. Ready? Go. Could you trace it and let me know?
Now you try the whole thing. Say it with me slowly. I see a transfer to the wrong account. Pause. Can you reverse it? Again. I see a transfer to the wrong account. Pause. Can you reverse it? I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it?
Now the second part, with feeling. That transaction was not authorized. Notice the stress on not. It's the key word. Say it with me. That transaction was not authorized. Again, that transaction was not authorized. That transaction was not authorized. Could we make this a little clearer? Means a reusable English chunk for this exact situation. That transaction was not authorized.
And the last one, with a polite tone. Could you trace it and let me know? Notice how trace it links together. Say it with me. Could you trace it and let me know? Again, could you trace it and let me know? Could you trace it and let me know?
Now put it all together. Repeat after me, slowly. I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? That transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know? Your turn. Say all 3 lines with me. I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? That transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know?
Now the earlier behavior makes sense. Breaking the exchange into thought groups makes the same natural speed English suddenly easier to hear and copy. Listen to the linking in what I mean is. Keep the words connected and stress the key idea. Now pronounce the complete example. What I mean is.
Now let's hear the whole exchange at natural speed. I'll start. I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? Notice how to the links together. To the wrong account. Listen again. I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it?
And I'll answer. That transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know? Notice the pause after authorized. It adds firmness. That transaction was not authorized. That transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know?
Now your turn. Repeat after me at natural speed. I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? Notice the rhythm. Can you reverse it? The stress is on verse. Try it with me. I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? Your turn. I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? Means a reusable English chunk for this exact situation. For example, I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it?
That transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know? I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it?
The complete exchange returns at authentic conversational speed with no extra explanation. Keep the idea, but change the words for your real situation. Transfer the same wording to a new detail. Start with that transaction was not authorized. For example, that transaction was not authorized. Now make one true sentence of your own.
Can you tell me the exact amount? It was $2,400. Could you trace it and let me know?
Can you confirm the amount? It was $2,400. That transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know?
The complete exchange returns at authentic conversational speed with no extra explanation. Keep the idea, but change the words for your real situation. Which wording fits this moment? Answer aloud before I say it. The clear answer is, could you trace it and let me know? For example, could you trace it and let me know?
Great job. Now let's switch roles. I'll be the customer, and you'll be the bank rep. I'll say, I see a transfer to the wrong account. Can you reverse it? You respond with, that transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know? Take your time. Notice how the tone stays calm but firm. That's key in these calls. Go ahead. That transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know?
Perfect. Now imagine the bank rep says, I can reverse it, but I need to verify the details. You, as the customer, stay polite but persistent. Say, that transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know? This shows you're not giving up. Go ahead. That transaction was not authorized. Could you trace it and let me know?
Nice. Now let's apply this to a fresh example. Imagine you're calling about a wrong charge on your credit card. You could start with, The way I see it, this charge wasn't authorized. Could you trace it and let me know? Your turn, give it a try. Use the way I see it to state your view clearly. Before I answer, say your own line with the way I see it. The way I see it, this charge wasn't authorized. Could you trace it and let me know?
Now imagine you're the bank rep and I'm the customer. I say, I see a transfer to the wrong account, can you reverse it? You respond with the line we practiced. Then I'll say, that makes sense, but I need to verify your identity first. How do you answer? Could you trace it and let me know?
But here's the real test. No script, no hints. I just said, we can reverse it, but we need to confirm the details. What do you say to get action?
If you said, that makes sense, but this is urgent. Could you trace it and let me know? You're right on track. You acknowledged their concern, but you pushed for action. That's the perfect balance. Now you try saying it with confidence. That makes sense, but means a natural chunk you can reuse in this situation.
Beautiful. You've got the balance. Now, let's see if you can do it without any help. I'm the bank rep, and I say, I see the issue, but reversing it takes time. Your turn, what do you say?
You said, I see the issue, but reversing it takes time. And you replied, could you trace it and let me know? That's exactly the calm, firm tone we want. Now let's replay the 3 strongest lines once more so they stick. Listen and shadow after me. I see a transfer to the wrong account, can you reverse it? Notice how I pause after account. That little break makes the request clearer. Try it with me now.
And the second line, that transaction was not authorized. Say it with me, slow. That transaction was not authorized. Now the third, could you trace it and let me know? You've got 6 rounds done. What changed for me was realizing that polite doesn't mean weak, it means clear. You've got that now. What changed for me was as a natural chunk you can reuse anytime you want to share a shift in thinking. Try it in your own sentence after the episode. What changed for me was means a natural chunk you can reuse in this situation.